Jubilees chapter 8, verse 19. And he knew that the Garden of Eden is the Holy of Holies, and the dwelling of the Lord, and Mount Sinai, the center of the desert, and Mount Zion, the center of the navel of the earth. These three were created as holy places facing each other. The book of Psalms also gives us another interesting clue, suggesting that not only is Mount Zion an exceedingly tall mountain, but it is also located in the north. Psalms chapter 48, verse 2. Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion, on the sides of the north, the city of the great king. The word situation used in this verse is the Hebrew word nof, which means elevation and or height. So this verse is basically saying that Mount Zion is beautiful in its elevation, meaning its exceedingly tall height. And I believe this mountain is the highest mountain on the earth. It also says Mount Zion is the joy of the entire earth, which would be at the navel of the earth, the axis mundi. Mount Zion is also said to be on the sides of the north, and on this holy mountain lies the city of the great king. I believe Mount Zion is also mentioned in the book of Isaiah, where it explains Satan's desire to exalt his throne above the stars of God and to sit upon the mount of congregation, which is in the sides of the north. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 13. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation, in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. I also believe that this incredibly beautiful and high mountain was possibly the exact place where Satan took Jesus to try and tempt him by showing him the kingdoms of the earth and their glory. Although I'm not entirely sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is the exceedingly high mountain where Jesus got tempted by Satan, since it is in the center of the earth, surrounded by all the kingdoms of the world. Matthew chapter 4, verse 8. Again the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them. Another interesting point to mention is the world tells us that there is no land in the navel of the earth, and that it's all just ice and water. However, in the 15th century, the first official map of the North Pole was made by Flemish cartographer Gerardus Mercator. This map was known as the Mercator map, and it shows land in the North Pole in great detail. An interesting feature on Mercator's map is Mercator's depiction of the North Pole as a large magnetic rock, known as Black Rock, or also known as Phantom Island. This mysterious mountain on his map was believed to be a black rock located at the magnetic North Pole or at the North Pole itself. This mysterious black rock was believed to be located at the magnetic North Pole or at the North Pole itself, surrounded by 4 mountainous islands, which are separated by 4 major rivers converging upon it. This map and its 4 rivers match the description of the 4 rivers of Eden in the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 2, verse 10. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted, and became into 4 heads. Mercator explained the source for his cartography in a 1577 letter to John Dee, an English mathematician and astrologer. In his letter, he goes on to state, in the midst of the 4 countries is a whirlpool, into which there empty these 4 indrawing seas, which divide the north, and the water rushes round and descends into the earth, just as if one were pouring it through a filter funnel. It is 4 degrees wide on every side of the pole. This is to say 8 degrees altogether, except that right under the pole there lies a bare rock in the midst of the sea. Its circumference is almost 33 French miles, and it's all of magnetic stone. I recently found something interesting concerning the North Pole while looking at a website called earthnullschool.net. Earth Null School is a visualization of worldwide weather conditions forecast by supercomputers updated every 3 hours. This website basically tracks wind currents. When I zoom into the North Pole, there appears to be something big and invisible diverting the wind in the direct center of the North Pole. What's even more strange is it appears to be that this wind current surrounding this invisible large object on the map looks like it's causing a whirlpool, exactly how Gerardus Mercator described when he sent a letter to John Dee describing this location. In his letter, he said that in the midst of the four countries is a whirlpool, into which there empty these four indrawing seas, which divide the north, and the water rushes round and descends into the earth, just as if one were pouring it through a filter funnel. This invisible object in the North Pole could possibly be the heavenly Mount Zion in the midst of the Garden of Eden. Based on abductive reasoning from these observations, it appears to be that the location of Mount Zion is in the navel of the earth, the North Pole.